Why the biggest knock on hiring DeMeco Ryans could reappear sooner rather than later. How soon, though? Let's take a close look at when CJ Stroud could be losing two of his most important assets.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do.
It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central, Sports Radio 610, Odyssey app, YouTube, on Sports Radio 610. Now, when DeMeco Ryans was hired, and for the record, I was a DeMeco guy. DeMeco or bust. Didn't care about the offensive mindset, et cetera. I think when it comes to building a culture, when it comes to being open-minded, being able to impact every level of a football team, I think DeMeco Ryans is the guy. But when DeMeco Ryans was hired, even people who loved DeMeco, who weren't opposed or passionately opposed to DeMeco, the biggest pushback was, well, you need an offensive coach if you're going to get a quarterback, especially if you're going to have a good quarterback, because if you don't, then there's a chance that quarterback's going to have to change offensive coordinators and switch systems and all that. And the reality is you can pick an example to back up anything. You can point to Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, attached at the hip, Super Bowls, GOAT status, all that type of stuff. The other guy in the conversation of GOAT, Tom Brady, he was able to do it with multiple offensive coordinators, although the majority of the success was with Josh McDaniels. But for the most part, despite having a defensive coach, he was able to get the job done. Patrick Mahomes right now, he has Andy Reid. So he really hasn't had to worry about that. But it does seem inevitable that eventually Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson, one of them, one, maybe both, are going to end up as head coaches in the NFL. And that's going to be really where the people who had that concern, while it's escaped temporarily, it's going to reappear. How do the Texans handle that? Now, does just one of them go and the other one just steps up? Possibly. But it is something that we need to keep an eye on. Bobby Slowick already had head coaching interviews last year. Gerard Johnson, he's getting a lot of momentum. He had some OC gigs. Kind of seems like he could be like one of those dark horse head coaching hires, young guys. So let's just kind of look at this and look at it from the perspective of where could Bobby Slowick or Gerard Johnson become head coaches after 2024. And there's one way to look at this that I think features a guy that is one of the guys that's going to be one of perhaps the hottest name on the market next year, and that's Ben Johnson, the OC in Detroit. It seemed like an inevitability that Ben Johnson was going to be a head coach this past offseason. However, Ben Johnson is back with the Lions for a third straight year. So if you're a Texans fan, that's kind of what you're hoping for. You're hoping that Bobby Slowick ends up back with the Texans next year, despite the fact he's going to be a popular name, we think. And you're also hoping that he's going to be a little bit selective, like Ben Johnson appeared to be. So that's really what you're hoping for. Now, where could these guys end up being head coaches next year? In other words, when you proactively look at NFL teams, what are the openings going to be? And you've heard DeMeco Ryans say that Bobby Slowick should be selective. I think there's a few. I think there's a few that will not be open. I don't think Mike McDaniel's going anywhere in Miami, no matter what. Gerard Mayo, New England, he's safe. Washington's not going to go one and done. Baltimore, obviously, Harbaugh, Taylor in Cincinnati, Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. Don't think they're going to move on from him. Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. He'll probably be coach until he's 90. Maybe, who knows? Eberflus, kind of depends on what happens with Caleb Williams. Dan Campbell, he's not going anywhere. LaFleur, O'Connell, not going anywhere. Shane Steichen's not going anywhere in this division. Tennessee's not going to get rid of Taylor. And then in the NFC South, Atlanta's not going one and done. Carolina damn sure isn't going one and done. And then Sean Payton's not going anywhere. And in the AFC West, nobody's going anywhere with Pierce, Harbaugh, Reed, and Sean Payton. And then the NFC West, Gannon, they're kind of bought into his process. Shanahan's not going anywhere in San Fran. Seattle's not going to go one and done. So there's 9 potential openings for Bobby Slowick and or Gerard Johnson, starting in Dallas. Dallas right now, it kind of feels like there's conspiracy theories going around from people I respect out there that they're kind of rebuilding right now. They're keeping the powder dry. They're gonna lock up their own guys eventually, and they're kind of they don't want to go all in on Mike McCarthy because they're probably going to wait for their next coach. So it's an aggressive-ish rebuild where you still have a good football team, but I don't think it would surprise anyone if that job's open next year. Now, what route do they want to go? Do they want to go with the big name like Bill Belichick? And from Slowick's perspective, is it appealing to go work with Dak Prescott on the back end of his career and the draft? The other factor here is the draft. There's not really a good quarterback class right now on paper. Buffalo's another possibility. I think this one could be open. What would Buffalo do if they have a disappointing season? You've heard the whispers with McDermott. This could be a make or break for him. The Jets, if the Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't work out, would the Jets get rid of Robert Saleh? Would that be an appealing gig? You're obviously probably going to have to start over at quarterback. Would that be appealing? Giants, Brian Dable, maybe an outside chance here. Maybe he gets a chance to try with another quarterback. But the Giants, keep an eye on that. Philly, if they have a disappointing season, I think Sirianni's gone. That might be an appealing job. Really for Gerard Johnson. He's worked with Jalen Hurts. I could see Philadelphia rolling the dice there. Chicago, I mean, if ish hit the fan, perhaps, but it seems like Caleb Williams likes Eberflus. Jacksonville, what if Jacksonville's disappointing? Would going and working with Trevor Lawrence be appealing for either Gerard Johnson or Bobby Slowick? I would say probably so. I don't think that's too much of a far possibility. New Orleans, that one, I could easily see that open next year. And then you have Tampa Bay. You would have to work with Baker Mayfield. And then the Rams, it just seems like Sean McVay is destined for TV. You've already had Aaron Donald retire. Could that be open? So those are the 9 potential openings. Do any of those appeal? I would say the Philadelphia and Jacksonville gig would definitely be appealing. Could you imagine either of these guys in the division? Again, you're hoping for the Ben Johnson type of joint here, but it is interesting that, and again, it's been overcome. But the biggest debate that we had about DeMeco Ryans, despite his success, it could reappear. It's just a matter of where the Texans offensive staffers become head coaches or where they could after 2024. It's something to keep an eye on. The good news is we got the 2024 season ahead of us. We're just kind of at the point of the year where, hey, it's the off season. Got to expand the mind and think beyond just what's in front of us. Subscribe, like, ride along. What's your dream scenario for Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson? My dream scenario is Slowick gets a job, Gerard stays as OC, and then Slowick's just so bad in 2 years as a head coach that once Gerard gets his head coaching gig, Slowick just comes back and kind of is the McDaniels to CJ Stroud and just the offensive coordinator for life. Sick, maybe. Love Bobby. We'll be rooting against him, though. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. Most importantly, always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah.